people. I've been incredibly negligent on updates, and I'm very, very sorry about that. The last time that all like three of you who occasionally watch this heard from me, it was 7 weeks. And as of today, I'm 14 weeks and 3 freaking days pregnant. And let me tell you something. The first trimester was pretty freaking awesome, but the second trimester is, if possible, even more awesome. But to do a quick backtrack on what exactly happened and where the hell have I been from week 7 until now, basically I've been asleep. Basically, the last time you saw me after I made that, I went to bed and I didn't get out of bed until last week. I'm kidding, of course, if only that were possible. But I do have a full-time job, so, but I don't really remember that much about it. I gotta tell you, everyone who works is busy. My job is very, very busy, and there's a lot going on right now. And I don't know how I really got up every morning and went to work as tired as I was. And to be fair, it wasn't that bad. In the mornings, sometimes it was hard to get out of bed. But when it got really tough was kind of early or late morning, early afternoon. Ugh. Thankfully, there were a couple of days here and there where things were really, really slow. And I'm very close with a lot of the assistant to our chairman, and she knew I was pregnant and no one else did. And a couple days there, I was able to just like go in his office when he wasn't around and no one was there really. And I would take like a nap during my lunch break just for an hour. And I would actually fall asleep, which none of you know me, but I don't sleep very well. And I'm not a napper. I have never been a napper, even when I was a little bitty baby. So I was pretty tired and it was a little bit tough. But I have to say, I never got sick. I never got sick, not once. I had one Saturday, thankfully it happened on a weekend. I had a full-blown migraine and it was awful. It was really, really bad. And I couldn't take anything for it. Tylenol does not touch migraines. It just doesn't even come close. It's a joke. So there was nothing I could do. I had an ice pack on my head and I was sweating and in so much pain, and I pulled a garbage bag next to the bed because I really felt like any second I was just going to boot. It was just, I was going to be gone. Thankfully it never happened, and that is the worst that it ever got. And that was it. So as far as my symptoms for the first trimester, weeks 8, 9, 10, I'd say really weeks 8, 9, 10, and then part of like 11, because after week 11, I was fine. But those weeks was very, very sleepy, very sleepy. In week 11, I went to get my Nuchal Translucency scan. I jumped on it because it was a chance to go in for an ultrasound and see the baby again. So at 11 weeks, we went to New York Presbyterian and had the Nuchal Translucency scan. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a test that they do early on, and it's kind of it's not really in lieu of amniocentesis, but it's like a precursor to see if amniocentesis or any other more invasive testing might be needed. They do an ultrasound and they measure the length of the baby from head to rump, and then they look at the back of the neck and I'm going to screw this up, I'm not a doctor. They look for a fluid-filled sac or the thickness of the back of the neck, and based on that, in ratio to the length of the baby, if it's too thick or something's there that shouldn't be there, it could be an indicator for some birth defects or abnormalities that could cause concern. And so if the test came back with those indicators, they would then recommend maybe some more blood work or eventually amniocentesis if the parents, if you care. If you don't care, then you don't need the nuchal and you don't want amniocentesis, then that's fine. Michael and I cared. We wanted to make sure everything was okay. And thankfully it was. And this ultrasound was really cool because it wasn't 3D or anything, but it was the first time the baby really looked like a baby. It didn't look like a little alien. The profile was incredible. Unfortunately, I think it has my nose, so sorry. It was pretty neat. There was a point in the ultrasound, the baby was like very chill, was just kind of laying there all wrapped up and wasn't moving at all. And the tech needed the baby to kind of stretch a little bit so she could get the full measurement. And so she started tapping on my belly, wake up, wake up. And the baby just kind of went and like rolled over, didn't stretch, but actually kind of hunkered in more, which is so perfect because that's what I do every day. But what was really cool was seeing that hand come up. It had all the fingers and it was just so amazing. It was amazing. And the freakiest thing about it is, like, you can't feel anything. You just can't feel it. You know, the past 4 weeks, in addition to being tired, the only thing that's weird is I kind of felt like, well, the pregnancy tests tell me there's a baby in there, and every now and then I go for an ultrasound and the little baby pops up on the screen. So I guess I believe it. I just have to believe it because I can't feel it. There's no change. I can still sleep on my belly, don't get sick. I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird to think that there's something the size of a plum that has a heartbeat, that has 2 hands, 2 feet, 10 digits on each, a freaking nose as big as this one, and you can't feel it when it moves. That is amazing and weird. So, there you go. That was week 11. So now switching to weeks 12 and 13. Amazing. Just amazing. I've got all my energy back. I'm not constantly starving like I was. That's gone. I mean, of course I get hungry, but it is not this overpowering thing where I get hangry, hungry and angry. I have definitely gotten bigger boobs. I've never been amply blessed, so it's not like they are totally like engorged or something, like I've gone up 3 cup sizes, but they feel heavier. They're just there more, and it's kind of cool. And definitely increase in the sex drive department. Feeling really good, got my energy back. My husband is looking so good. I mean, he always looks good, but I don't know, there's just this thing now, like I feel so close to him and so bonded to him, and I just don't ever want to let him out of my sight. So that's been kind of fun, you guys. Yeah, it's been really good. We went to go see a midwife, and it went well. we're going to go on a tour of the birthing center, which is located in a hospital nearby. We just moved to New Jersey. I don't want to give too many details about where we live, but we're about 7 minutes from the city, from New York City. We moved here from Brooklyn. And we've decided that we're going to look at birthing centers in New Jersey. Well, like most states, there are no birthing centers here, no independent freestanding ones. However, there are several that operate in partnership with area hospitals. And so we went to visit one, the office, had an interview with the midwife, really liked her, and we're going to go tour the hospital on Thursday. We'll see. I don't know. The midwife that I met has since left the practice, which kind of makes me nervous. I don't know why she would leave, and no one told me. No one reached out. And I was also told at that meeting that they would call and give me information on how much my insurance would cover, and no one ever called, so I had to call. And it's just, you know, after the great experience we had at Weill Cornell Medical Center, where I didn't have to beg for my test results, and I didn't have to like chase people down for appointments, and to just like go back to the real world of having to fight for everyone's like freaking attention is really gross, and it just makes me tired thinking about it. But I guess this is how it is. I'm just going to keep being aggressive. Before I found out that my midwife had left, I had pretty much made up my mind to go with this practice. Now I'm not so sure, and I feel like I've got to start the process all over again, which is frustrating because this is one thing I wanted to get off my plate. But it's important, and if it takes time, then it's worth it. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Other than that, that's about it. I'm only a week into the second trimester, so there's more to come. I'm thinking that next week I will go and I'll just pop into an ultrasound center with Michael, and we'll see if we can tell the gender. We did decide that we would like to know. Oh, one more thing. I wanted to talk about this guy. A woman that I work with is very, very sweet. She was very excited I was pregnant, and she lent me her fetal Doppler. And she gave it to me. I've had it since I was about 9 weeks. And, you know, what's the first thing I did? Of course, I came home, and when I got it, you know, I stuck it on my belly, like right up around my belly button with the gel, and looked and looked and looked and looked, and I couldn't hear anything. And I didn't get upset, but I was just like, I want to hear it. There are lots of videos on YouTube about using the fetal Dopplers, so I won't go into a whole lot of detail, but I will say a couple of things. One, obviously some doctors don't want you to have them for the very reason that you come home, you try to use it, you can't hear the heartbeat, and you start freaking out. So if you feel like you're someone who this would just give you more anxiety than relief, don't use it. Just don't use it. But if you want to try it, I have a couple of recommendations. One, I don't know if price makes a difference. Obviously, I didn't buy this. I'm borrowing it. But I looked it up online. This one costs about $100. I really like it. It's good. I did not get to hear the heartbeat using this until I was at 13 weeks. That was the first time I heard it, and I probably could have heard it sooner if I was using the damn thing properly. Here's the mistake that I made. All right, so you get a little bit of a belly shot right here. As I said, I came home, and so whatever. I'll just show you my belly, I don't care. There's my belly button. And of course I have a little pooch here, so I was like, oh, well that's where the baby is. Put the gel on, stuck the thing on, and spent like 20 minutes all in this general area, even down here, getting nothing and freaking out because I got nothing. That's too high up that early. Your baby is not that high up early on. If you want to get a reading, pull your pants down, lay down flat in bed, and go low. Low. Lower than you think you should. Okay? Right above your pubic bone. And don't move it around very quickly. Move slowly. And let it rest in a spot. And if you think you might hear something, one piece of advice, and this is how I ended up hearing the heartbeat for the first time, instead of chasing it by moving it like this, oh, is it here? Oh, I kind of hear this. Let me move it down. Kept it in the same spot, but just adjusted where I was aiming the sensor without moving it from that spot. And that's how I heard the heartbeat for the first time. I kept making the mistake of thinking that I was hearing something and chasing it, trying to figure out, gosh, is it over here? Is it over here? Is it up, down? Keep it in the same spot if you're hearing something and push down firm, but just change the angle a little bit. That worked. The other thing that worked is I didn't look at the number. I didn't use the monitor to guide me. I would just put the speaker next to my ear and let my ear guide me. Last piece of advice, if you start freaking out because you can't hear anything, here's what to do. You've got it on your belly. You're not hearing anything. You've been trying forever. You're starting to get worried. Do yourself a favor and stick it over your own heart. It doesn't pick up anything. And your heart's still beating. So it's okay. It's in there, it's ticking away. It takes time, it takes patience. Once you locate it, I've found that's pretty much always where it is. I can find mine within like 5 minutes. So anyway, that's my advice on Fetal Doppler. I think it's fun. Michael really likes listening to it. It was a fun moment the first time we found it together. So that's it. Thanks so much, guys, and I will check back in next week. Have a good week, and I'll talk to you soon.